guys.
Stuck in my bra.
Welcome to Xenia Bridge. Jen managed to get herself, as she just said, stuck in her bra. That's all kinds of special.
I think I'm out. No, like, okay, so this one has like a hook where if you're wearing like a racer back, you can hook them together. But it's unhooked right now. So every little thing like gets caught in it. So I go to throw my headset back and it got in the hook and I was like, oh shit.
So as per usual, we can't start a stream without a little bit of chaos. For once, it appears to be the boob gremlins rather than the tep gremlins causing the issue.
Yo, the boob gremlins struck with the desk today too. Like I was like, because they give you these cheap shitty Allen keys, right? And there's like this much fucking space. So I've got my head wedged in this corner piece and I'm trying to screw it and like I keep doing this. And I'm like, oh my God, cut them off. I just want to get this fucking desk put together. Like, really? Like, I just look down and my head's like, I'm like, if I turn my head the wrong way, I'm getting stuck to begin with. And then it's doing this and I'm like, fucking, I'm done. I'm just, no.
Well, it's funny because right before we got in all this, we just, I'd been watching Lucifer all day and I've been constantly going back to Twitter and to check messages and stuff like that every so often because I'm like, I know Allie's going to send me a message to remind me, hey, you got shit to do today. You know that, right?
You got shit to do. You have to adult today.
Yeah, and so I sat there and I kept going back and forth.
Yeah, you want to eventually you want to tell the audience why I had to send you that message, Russ.
yes, because Monday I lost track of his existence in general because I sat there was eating lunch and I was like, I want to find something to watch, and I kept hearing all this good stuff about Lucifer. So I was like, you know what, look, I got some time. I'll go ahead and just watch Lucifer for a bit. That bit lasted all throughout the evening, all night, and then all throughout the early morning and into the next day as well. I watched it.
Dope. That's why I don't start new shows when I have shit to do, because I know that's going to happen.
So I sat there and at like 10 o'clock my time, which is 11 o'clock for y'all on the eastern side. I sat there and looked,
I'm central,
and I was like, oh yes, I'm just talking about people in the chat in general.
Oh, I was like,
those who are on the eastern sideboard. Yeah.
You want to know something interesting, Russ? Like, only apparently 2/3 of my fans are actually in the U.S. I found this out. I was looking at my metrics, and 64% of my audience is in the U.S. The rest is God's nowhere else. It's got some country tracking. Apparently, I've got like fans in Japan, in like Germany, in England, in Australia, and that's probably Nervardia's fault. But yeah, like apparently 1/3 of my audience is abroad, which, hi guys, you guys are amazing. And the fact that you stay up until God's know when and go to bed at God's know when to hang out and tune into some of these live shows, you guys are freaking awesome. If I can get a sound off from international members in my audience, I would love to see you guys say hi.
I've got American and Australian are my two big ones. India, too.
But we are already way off in the boonies because Russ is such a good friend. We've known him in the boobies. Because we've known him for so dang long. For any of you that are in my Discord, which there's a link in the description below to that, Russ hangs out with us all the freaking time. He's basically like, we've joked about him being the potted plant in the server because when he's not binge watching Lucifer perpetually, he is always in live chat just about. And he's been a good friend to the channel since before the channel was.
Mm-hmm. I think Russ was one of the first people that reached out to me when I got back in the scene. Russ was like, hey. I was like, oh, hi.
Probably. I don't remember.
What up? I was like, who the fuck are you?
I've been for those of y'all who don't know, I've been in the community ish since back in the Google Hangout days. So I've been around for a minute.
Yeah, so
man, I never walked into that in Vietnam. Nope.
So we're supposed to ask the first question. Of course, we're almost 5 minutes into the thing, and we're finally getting to it. Russ, what does allyship mean to you? Because you've been getting into fights, all kinds of fights on Twitter with like fundy atheists and fundy Christians and TERFs and like everybody you can fight with.
15 minutes before we went live, Russ was fighting on my Twitter.
Oh yeah. That That was fun. But to answer the question, allyship for me is just like we're two groups of people that while we answer a specific question differently, doesn't mean that we're natural enemies. So we can fight against people who actually do cause harm and those who do end up causing bad things to happen and things like that. We can team up, side by side. I mean, hell, if you're a big comic books fan, you know that there's a lot of times where superheroes and villains have had to team up against an even worse villain than they are. And so this isn't, I mean, hell, one of my most favorite comic book scenes is whenever the Joker, like the DC and Marvel universe team up together, the Joker teams up with Red Skull until he finds out that he's a commie or he's from Germany and stuff. And so he sits there and beats the hell out of him. And then when asked why, he goes, I may be a bad guy, but I'm an American bad guy. It's like one of those things where it's like, yes, we have differences, but we can still team up for the common good that we share, which is fuck Focus and fuck everybody else who decides to cause harm.
Fuck everyone is no frith with death.
Yeah.
Can you highlight Lisa for Truth's comment?
Yeah, actually, because this is what we're here to
Lisa,
talk about tonight.
I got a question. Are you an atheist?
Yeah, she is. She actually knew me from back on my work on the old channel.
Okay, so here's my next question, though. Why are you an atheist?
Well, let's actually get a little bit into, instead of specifically going after the chat, which, of course, when she answers, I'll highlight her comment, but let's talk a little bit about the two of you and where you guys come in on this question, because you've talked extensively about this before, Jen, and you, Russ, actually wrote a really fascinating and excellent tweet thread on Twitter about the conversations that you and I in particular have had about personal experience.
Hold on a second. Yes, Lisa for Truth. Why are you an atheist? Why are you an atheist? That's the question.
So, Russ, would you like to talk a little bit about that? Because that's kind of been your shtick, is you're the philosophical atheist who believes there are no gods, and yet at the same time, you hold that it is perfectly justified for me to believe in gods. So would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, so the thing is when we're talking about, for those in the chat who may go off of the lack of belief definition of atheist, whatever, I don't sit there and deny that is a definition, but we're talking about philosophy. We need to go after the philosophical.
That's it. I'm drinking. I'm leaving. I'm leaving the conversation. Bye. I'm leaving the conversation. Bye.
We need to use philosophical things, and whenever it comes to justifications for beliefs, philosophically wise, personal experience entails that whatever you personally experience is perfect enough justification for you to hold a belief. Now, for those of y'all atheists out there that are about to start typing away like blah 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 blah, I'm not saying that a believer's personal experience is enough to justify you to believe, because this is a personally held belief. A personal experience can justify their belief. That doesn't mean it has to justify you.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I just want to address Lisa.
Before you do that, Jen, I would like to reply to Russ, just because I wanted to kind of back him on this as the pagan in the chat.
Hold on. Avian, yes. Not my wheelhouse.
Wait.
Bye.
Well, and part of the reason that I personally, as a pagan, have a lot of problems with evangelical Christians, and I'm saying evangelical here as in Christians who want to spread their faith, which is the vast majority of them. Even the more progressive Christians still have an evangelical bent in that sense of the word, and that's why I'm defining the term here. The reason that I have a problem with that in part is because they may have had personal experiences with their God. They may have even, had experiences with the Bible and things like that. They might think it's divinely inspired. I did a whole video on that, but that doesn't necessarily justify them trying to force their belief on other people. And it sure as fuck doesn't justify them from saying that their God is the only one that exists when there's absolutely no proof of that. Like, in fact, if you look at history and you take the personal experiences of mass cultures, there are far more polytheistic societies than there ever have been monotheistic societies. So I will let Jen really quickly reply.
So yeah, so it's you stated because I have temporal lobe epilepsy and I've had God experiences due to it, and I've learned a lot about science. God cannot be answered by the science question. Gods cannot be answered by the science question. So let's negate science. Yes, there are things that people. Oh,
we had another part to that reply.
Okay, you don't rule out deistic gods or even Zeus likes God. I try to pronounce it like you, Allie, and my mouth just doesn't fucking do it.
It's like a DZ sound, like Zeus.
It's not happening.
Learn ancient
so
Greek,
you don't rule out. Okay, so we're talking all gods here. We're not talking about the big G god. But there are things that, yes, certain things like people attributed, the sun to, God sat up there and fucking turned on a light switch or, changed a light bulb or some shit. But there are things that still
Spooky Bedhead.
Huh?
I just want to address Spooky Bedhead's question or thing there. I have no idea who this person is.
Can you let Jen
just kidding.
Her thing first?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead,
Spooky
Jen.
Bed Hair. Spooky Bed Hair is awesome.
I fucking love Spooky.
I love Spooky. So there are certain things that we can't answer with the God question. Now, when atheists, myself included, start applying to their belief, okay, this doesn't make sense to me, that doesn't make sense to me. These are personal experiences with how you are interpreting other things. There is no, this isn't like vaccines. This isn't like, hey, we've done 50 years of study. This shit works. No, it wholly cannot be answered. So you have to take the facts that you know and interpret them into your own personal understanding and belief. Therefore, if your personal belief and your personal understanding of the experiences in your life can validate your atheism, why can it not be a validation of someone's belief?
Well, and, this is a good point, though, is when we talk about justifying belief, we're not saying that personal experience justifies all belief. What we're saying is that personal experience can justify belief in the concept of deity, but that doesn't mean that the particular concept of deity is, say, logically coherent. For example, I get into fights all the freaking time about the concept of a quad omni god. Like, this is a thing that, polytheists, especially Stoics, are really, really, really good at fighting. Because the entire concept of a quad omni god, especially if you, unlike the Platonists, agree that evil exists in the world, which in order to be a Christian, you do, then at that point you now have this problem of, as you've said, like many, many times, as we've talked about many, many times, you've got this deity that has all of the power in the universe, is ever present, knows everything that's going to happen, has a problem with evil and does nothing about it.
So I'm going to flip this a bit. Many of us lately have been dealing with high racial tensions and being extremely shocked by the people that we know with some things that they may feel or some things that they may say. I was done just yelling and yelling and yelling and yelling and yelling constantly lately. So I started to sit down with people and say, okay, what are your experiences? What are your experiences and why are you all lives matter and why do you think that color doesn't matter? And I would talk to them. And it was because they weren't exposed to anything else. It was a very insular, small town way of thinking. And then I had to sit there with them and talk to them about it. So their personal experience absolutely justified their belief because they weren't educated on what was going on. It did justify their belief. Was the belief right? No. Was the belief kind? No. Was the belief productive? No. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't justify. It doesn't mean that their personal experience does not justify how they believe on something. It may not be the right answer. But that is a justification.
Yeah, so if you have somebody who is incredibly racist in your life, besides, those... Yeah,
God, my whole fucking family. Besides my mom.
I'm from the South, so thankfully, a lot of my family aren't very racist. I do have some that are, but so whenever you actually get down to it, they've experienced certain things with specific individuals, or they've seen certain evidence that helps form their belief to them thinking black people are terrible people. And while that personal experience is enough to justify that, the thing is they're not looking at everything on the whole. And so that's when, it's time to, if we introduce them to people who aren't like the specific individuals that they might have had encounters with. Like, I've met one person who said that the sole reason why he does not like black people is because a bunch of black people raped his sister. And by all means, I understand, and I have and I'm sorry for the trigger warning.
Yeah, you got to throw a trigger warning.
Sorry, trigger warning. I'm so sorry, guys. So while his feelings towards those specific individuals is warranted, I think that what he did was he superimposed what those individuals did onto the entire group of people. And what he then did was say that this is how all black people behave, when it's not the case. And so I think that if we actually have conversations with these people and say, look, you're judging people off of maybe a select few that you've had interactions with, whenever we can sit there and actually look at the broader scan and say, hey, look, this is not, how the broad general group of people behave, then we might get somewhere. Even if it's a small step forward, it's still somewhat of a step forward to get them to kind of start changing their mind.
I'm going to share an actual changed opinion of mine.
Oh, go ahead.
Where I grew up and how I grew up, it was extremely common for older men in 30s to hit on and date 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old girls. It was extremely common. And when it wouldn't work out, or when they would be with them, it was, what is she doing? Look at how she's dressed. She's a fast-tailed girl. Oh, she's mature for her age. And this is because this is what they were taught as women for generations. I got out of the hood and really started going to therapy and, looking at other aspects of the world, and then realized, no, these men are predators. These girls did nothing wrong. But it was my experiences and what I had been taught that led me to, second guess a 15-year-old girl, a friend of mine, my sister, and being like, well, maybe if you dressed better, why are you with that old man? If you weren't flirting with him, she did something wrong. Yeah. And like I said, it wasn't until, after I got out of the hood and went to fucking therapy that I realized they were predators.
Didn't you do a video just last week on the whole pick me culture type thing?
Mm-hmm. And I was part of that. I was so part of that when I was younger. I was so part of it. Because in that same... So where I grew up, everybody wanted to get out. And you got out a few ways. You busted your ass in your education, which was super rare. You drug dealed, you hustled. And if you were a woman, you got with somebody who had more money and could get you out. Right. We coined the term flatbacking. You flatbacked out, which is hard, but you flatbacked out. And it was this competition, and it turned into us turning on each other. Well, I have to be this and I have to be that so that I can get somebody that'll get me out. Now, I didn't get out that way. I was the hustle type. I was I'm going to hustle my ass off and get the fuck out of here. And no, not all of it was legal. Yeah. But for many women, how I grew up, we absolutely did pit against each other with pick-me culture because we thought it was a form of survival. So while it's fucked up and it's wrong, our personal experiences was, if I don't do this, I'm not going to get out of this situation. My kids are going to be born in poverty, and this is how we're going to die.
Well, and that's not even just personal experience. That's also cultural pressure, right?
You didn't find the same reasons in the upper class neighborhoods.
No. Yeah, but there's microcultures, right? Your neighborhood has a culture, your school has a culture, your workplace has a culture. That doesn't have to mean, the entire city is like that, but cultural things can be the pressure of your peer group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my belief was totally justified because I didn't know any better. I'm not saying it was right. Right. Justified doesn't mean right. And this is what we have to stop equating. Justified doesn't mean right.
Yeah. Like, for instance, growing up where I live, it's a very small town. Like most people work their asses off just to make ends meet type of town. And the only people who actually get out of this town are those who, or even if it's not just get out of town, but to get money, the type of money that you always hear about people having. You're either going to end up in the plants working your ass off until your body just ends up stop working on you, and or you end up selling drugs. Surprisingly,
joining the military. There were 3 options.
Yes, or join the military, because the military, it doesn't give you a lot of money, but of course
it gets you out.
It gets you out of town, and it gets you out of the place you're at, so you can then explore your horizons. And that's exactly what goes on here. Is either you're into drugs, you are in the military, or you're working out in the plants getting money. The rest of the people in town.
I'll go ahead.
Go ahead.
I forgot one was prison for us too. Prison was a big one.
Oh, yes. Oh,
prison was a big one.
My cousins were the in and out of jail type of people. As a matter of fact, one of my cousins spent 5 years in the pen. So, yeah. As a matter of fact, he sat there and he had to do stuff whenever he was in prison. Like, he joined the Aryan Brotherhood because of the fact it was
hold on, I'm sorry. My cat's licking his ass on camera. Fred.
But my cousin joined the Aryan Brotherhood because the way he saw it while he was in the jail was, I either join this gang, I either join the Aryan Brotherhood and live through prison, or I'm gonna end up getting dying somehow in here. So he joined the Aryan Brotherhood, and now that he's out, he doesn't really do much. He sits there and he works in the plants, and he works his ass off, and he just keeps his nose clean as far as he can.
So why do you think that, for example, anti-theists, because let's face it, generally, most of the time when you're dealing with people who think that personal experience is not a justifier for belief, most of them are anti-theists. Like, some anti-harm folks hold that opinion as well, but the vast majority of the ones I've met personally, here's my personal experience justifying this broad statement, they're anti-theists. Why do you think they have such a hard time accepting the idea that it is, and I'm going to use this term, rational for somebody like me or Ocean or any of the other pagans on, say, the bar crawl to believe in our gods based off of our own personal experience?
Like, why do they think that it's irrational?
They think they got the God answer right, so they know more, they're more enlightened, and therefore everyone needs to think like them.
Yeah, I agree. And I say that whenever so you have anti-theists who sit there and believe that they have the answer correct whenever it comes to the God question. And because they think that any way other than pretty much using science or whatever to sit there and say, okay, this is how we can explore these things, they don't believe that it's true. And that's why you always hear people sit there and pop off with the whole entire thing that whenever you say, oh, well, why can't I use personal experience? It's like, because it's not a reliable pathway to truth. And so they think that they can use science in a way to kind of
to answer a question that can't be answered by science. Exactly. And it's always baffling to me. I've sat there and as a matter of fact, had a long conversation with this person last week about this, where I was trying to get him to realize that personal experience can be used as a justification for a belief. And we got down to the point of, if somebody has a personal experience, whatever, trying to find every way to disprove what it is that they've experienced, and
yeah, myself especially. If anybody saw my coming out story on Neil the 604 Atheist channel that I did a couple weeks ago, I talked at length about the sheer volume and lengths that I went to disprove my own personal experience that led me to Hellenism. I was mad. No, sir, I do not want to play pig with you. No, thank you.
No, throw the piggy.
Yeah, well, Doggo Bacon, no, he doesn't want me to throw it. He wants me to play tug of war with it.
You can't do both? Fucking get on it, Russ.
Oh, I know. I'm so horrible. But then he growls like he did just now. But
I just taught my kid more independence as I'm doing this show. Get on it, Russ. I'm doing life lessons here. You can't even play tug of war.
I can't play tug of war. But anyway, so Tug Pig. Look, that's sounding like a euphemism, and this is for the OnlyFans account.
No, that happens at my house.
But so anyway, so I was talking to this guy, and I sat there, and it got down to the point to where that there's no way to 100% disprove that that we just had a weird experience, and so it almost seemed like the hard solipsism question to me. Like, this is like, because we can't 100% rule it out, then that means that even no matter how many experiences we had that are similar, it doesn't matter, because if we can't 100% rule out that, because we do, every day we have experiences where we, where it may be odd, but it could just be our brain. And so because we couldn't 100%.
Shit.
Exactly. But since we can't 100%, that's why I try to avoid going down that route. But because we can't 100% prove that it's just not our brain experiencing these things, then we can't sit there and be justified in holding that it could be, a divine experience. And so
I think,
to me, like I said, it seems like.
Can I interrupt you really quick, Russ? Somebody seems confused on your point. Jen, can you elaborate a little bit? Because I
never said that. What? That mind-altering substances never came out of my mouth. I was talking about how personal belief is justifiable to the person. Just because it's not correct or a good belief doesn't mean that it's not justifiable. Where the hell did you get DMT from?
They've been talking about DMT in the chat this entire time.
I never said that.
Yeah,
I'm not even talking about psychology or neuroscience, whatever the fuck. What are you talking about, dude?
Yeah.
Like, I actually advocate to not sit here and produce a confirmation on personal belief or believing anything when you're on mind-altering substances, because your fucking brain isn't working right. You're under the influence of shit. That's the one time I'm like, don't take that personal belief. Don't take that experience. Yeah. Don't take that belief, because that shit does some fucked up shit, and it's fun. Yeah. It's a great time.
Yeah, I've had a story.
Don't make life decisions on it.
I had this story about how a friend of mine, he was on some kind of psychedelics. I forget if he ate mushrooms or what he did, but he told me how he had a fucking 2-hour conversation with a fucking tree. And
so one of these days, I'm going to have to, one of these days, hubby has to be home when we're talking about the DMT thing, because hubby apparently took a shroom and had a 5-hour conversation with a motorcycle poster with Jesus, a poster of Jesus about the motorcycle poster that was next to him.
Oh,
I did a lot of acid.
Did Jesus want to get on? Did Jesus want to get on the motorcycle?
No, he just mutually seemed to admire that it was a really fucking cool motorcycle, and they apparently managed to talk about that for 5 hours.
So I did a lot of acid in my teens, like a fuck ton of acid. Like, I'm shocked my brain is functional at this point, especially since I used to like hit the head. But oh my God, I've had conversations with my hands. My cat spoke English once, I think. Because we used to videotape them, because it's really fucking hard to remember anything coherently.
Wait, the English they were speaking, was it like England English? Or
no, it had like a New York accent and everything. It was fucking trippy.
Oh my God, that's
awesome. One of my shirts changed fabrics one time. Like, don't do, and shrooms, but don't.
I agree,
don't fucking base. Don't make life decisions high on psychedelics. Matter of fact, don't make life decisions high on anything.
So is Harley Jesus going to become a new server meme? Is this a thing that's going to happen
Harley
now?
Jesus. Yes, I love it.
Harley Jesus.
One of these days, I'm going to have to drag my hubby by his ear onto the Discord to tell that story. He's in the Discord and he hangs out, but he's quiet.
Because I want to talk about.
Yes, I want to hear Jesus sitting there saying, one day he just walks into his room And she's like, hey, man, this is a sweet-ass bike over there.
Beyblade Moses.
Beyblade Moses.
It's in the chat.
Oh, my God. We seem to have a consensus.
Oh, my God.
I'm for Beyblade Moses. Beyblade Moses is Bay. Fuck that.
Yes, Beyblade Moses. He parted the Red Sea with this sweet-ass Beyblade.
You know, they never said what kind of staff it was that Moses parted the Red Sea.
Yeah, it could have been that stick that you used to sit there and wind up the Beyblade. You never know. Oh, whoa. Now this is going to the OnlyFans site.
I'm thinking about it.
Oh, guys, all aboard. Anyway, for those who are not familiar with show stuff, because we've got a couple of new folks in the chat tonight. Welcome.
Some of them I will say that are probably here because of me. Like the new Stoics is a buddy of mine, Tim.
Hey, Tim.
Yeah, is he Tim? Is he Tim the Bad Stoic?
Tim Bad Stoic. Yes.
Oh yeah, like I've talked to him on Twitter a few times. Hi, Tim.
Yeah. And then of course, Purple Rhymes with Orange is another friend of mine.
Yeah, I've known Purple for oof.
Yeah. Oof.
Longer than I want to admit to.
Apparently, Hrothgar is still working on that for you, by the way.
Oh my God, I think I didn't hit send on your message on Discord. I think I didn't hit send. I do that like a lot, and I don't notice it for like a week later.
And we are now going off the ADHD waterfall and down the river. I warned everybody this was going to happen. No, but I guess coming back to the allyship question, I recently got gone after by a certain much, much larger creator than I am. And I'm not going to mention who it is because anybody who's on my Discord already knows because they're the ones who told me about it. And so did their fans. The comment section of one of my videos is now the biggest dumpster fire I have seen on my channel so far.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, like so much so that there is now a game show in our server that we do weekly just to try to cope with the sheer insanity of it. But where do you think that those sorts of attitudes, not the person who responded, because that person very clearly just didn't give a fuck, but you
can tell throughout the video. You can tell throughout the video he just was not interested in it whatsoever.
No,
he his interest level in what he was going after was just kind of like, well, a bunch of y'all keep telling me to do this, so I guess I'll do it.
Well, and it's clear that he didn't even know who I was. They accused me of being a Wiccan at one point, and I'm like, are you kidding?
No?
Have you, did you even read the description on my channel? At least you're going to respond to a video with
the
damn
never
description.
Fucking do. I get people that come after me and they're like, psychologically, and I'm like, did you read the description in my channel? Did you fucking read theologically? I'm like, bitch, it says it in my intro video. We're not doing this.
No. It gets even better because on my Twitter, my @ is literally FRSTD _atheist. The full word atheist.
Yes.
And people sit there and still say, you must be religious. And I'm like, yes, because atheist means that I believe in gods. Yes, let me tell you.
Okay, maybe I have more faith in humanity. This is the part of me that Jen is trying to protect, apparently.
Because I lost it, and goddamn, somebody should have it.
But yeah, Purple, you actually are right. A lot of people do think that Wiccan and pagan are the same thing, but here's the thing: is pagan is a weasel term, and at some point I'm going to do a video on how hard it is to define. I specifically am a Hellenist. I have a specific religion, and I think a lot of people don't actually realize that. They don't seem to realize
a Baptist and Episcopalian.
Yeah, or calling an Episcopalian a Catholic actually would be kind of a bigger thing.
Ooh.
Hey, X.
X gonna give it to you?
I gotta message X because I miss doing Utah Outcast. We stay up super late, get shit faced drunk, and just talk shit about
I've never done. I don't even know if Utah Outcasts even know I exist.
Now they do. X is here.
Now they do.
It's so
and I hope X gonna give it to you.
It's so much fun. I make X and Kyle absolutely lose their shit no less than 60 times during an episode.
But I mean, like, when it comes to...
Who the fuck is Silver Raven fuck? That just sounds like you need to call the ASPCA. What the fuck is going on?
Okay, so Silver Raven Wolf, also known as, $ Silver Raven Wolf or Silver Raven Bitch or Silver Raven Fuck. Basically, she is a Wiccan fluffy bunny who specifically targets teenagers and is the biggest fluffy bunny factory ever put out by the Fluffy Bunny Factory, which is Llewellyn Publishing.
So, okay, I gotta check this person out because I need somebody new to go after.
You're gonna bleach your eyes when you're done.
I don't know if X is referring to me or you, Jen.
Both.
They said
both of us.
Both?
It's both.
Okay.
It's absolutely
because they
the
said,
answer is yes.
Just hit me up in the Twitter DMs. Oh,
the
yes,
answer
just
is
yes.
Just yes.
Yeah, and I completely agree with On Fire. I was introduced to
Oh God, she has books?
Yeah, many of them.
I want to read these books.
She is one of the most prolific pagan authors out there.
Pro tip. I have a pro tip.
Everyone.
I have a pro tip for you guys. If you want to read some inflammatory shit, but you don't want to pay them and you don't want to give this person money, the Pirate Bay and other torrent sites do torrent digital downloads for books.
I used to do Pirate Bay when I was in the army.
On Minecraft.
Nobody is actually endorsing that you do this. This is just a thing that is a fact in the world.
I'm just stating facts. I'm just stating facts that if you want things that you don't want to pay for, just go to Pirate Bay.
I did it with the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy because I was like, not going to.
So I'll put it to you guys this way. Silver Raven Wolf has referenced another author who I put in the Fluffy Bunny Parade, DJ Conway. DJ Conway's written even more. DJ Conway wrote a book called Advanced Dragon Magic. Now, for any of the Wiccans in my audience, because I know there's a few of you, let's see how hard you guys cringe. The opening to this book contains a so-called initiation meditation rite in which one is approached by a guardian dragon and you're given the answer to this riddle, and they basically repackage this into quote-unquote 5 inner rings of dragon magic. Quote.
Oh my goodness.
There ain't no dragon magic unless your tits look like mine. End of book.
Let me finish. It gets worse. At the end of each chapter, there's another initiation meditation in which you are given the answer to the initiation question.
Okay, I need to read this book because this book sounds
But what if you don't get the answer?
Hilarious.
Then what happens?
I own a copy of it, Russ. If you want to pay me for shipping, I'll send it to you because I'm getting rid of it.
But what happens if you don't get the answer?
Well,
then what happens is just like in
so I guess
the
you
Hunt
don't
for the
read.
Holy Grail.
The answer is in the meditation. Like, it tells you how to pass the test. So if you didn't get it, you didn't read.
You see what
the
it is.
The only dragon magic that
answer.
happens is if you have tits like mine. End of book. Done. Like, there's a page. Book is over. What?
Look, all I'm saying is that if you don't get the answer, it happens like when you don't answer the riddles correctly in Monty Python's Holy Grail.
That just made me uncomfortable.
Hair clay. So there's so many worse things in DJ Conway's stuff.
And I wanted to address X. X was like, you can hit up libraries. A lot of the time in the South, you're not gonna find Wiccan authors. You're not gonna find fluffy bunny shit.
However, this coming from experience, from having had to research some extremely rare shit, you might be able to get interlibrary loans. Like, they might look at you weird, but interlibrary loans are an offer.
They'll I've actually asked for polytheist Wiccan authors, and I wanted to look into something about crystal healing to debunk it. And I was like, can you? And called back 2 weeks later. Oh, nobody in the area has one.
Okay, well, that's why you get that. Again, that's what I was talking about. Interlibrary loans. Interlibrary loans are where they will borrow the book from another library system, and they'll have.
Yeah, I know. They said that they couldn't find it.
That's BS.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Ezra Lisa does not know what Fluffy Bunny is, so do y'all want to enlighten them?
Education time.
Okay, so a fluffy bunny, I love Ocean Keltoy's definition for this. He and I have had many conversations about this. A fluffy bunny is somebody who believes, who bases their beliefs on either revisionist history or pseudoscience.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Tim's leaving, so goodbye, Tim.
Bye, Tim.
Have a good night, Tim.
Yeah.
But on the subject of Silver Ravenwolf, before we get back to the discussion at hand, she's technically in the category of people that we need to deal with together because she makes some pretty damn extraordinary health claims about the ability for herbal magic and things to change stuff, and also actively encourages children to rebel against their parents and hide their practice and stuff, including in fundamentalist homes.
No, I'm gonna go on record here.
And let me finish my statement first. And has spells in her books, in some of them, to stop parents from beating their kids in abusive homes, and they claim that it works.
No. So I find this book fine whenever it was just a bunch of hilarious fluffy bunny shit, but now that you said that, just no.
So for some children, especially children in fundamentalist households, I advocate to hide your beliefs while you're still under your parents' control.
Oh, I would advocate that too, but my problem with that is that she's encouraging that people practice in those homes and has these spells that'll supposedly protect you.
Okay, so you cast the spell and it doesn't work, and now not only are your parents shit, but you're devastated that your gods aren't hearing you and you're not doing anything right if it doesn't stop.
Yeah, no. And the thing is
Rilla, I'm not in a rural area. We have over 150,000 people here. I'm not in a rural area.
This cracked me up, Bragwin, so I wanted you to get recognized for that.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yes.
But which one, Jen? Which one?
so the thing is one of the most harmful things about this is the fact that if you're having like books like this and stuff like that in your house as a child, in a fundamental household, what this person doesn't seem to realize.
Me to Wicca.
But what this person doesn't realize is the fact that fundamentalist mothers are definitely the helicopter mom, and they will snoop all throughout your room under the guise of cleaning up, and they will find these things, and they will and burn them. The punishment will be even more severe. The fact that you had them, and then on top of that, if you keep buying these things, even after the first initial fine, what's going to end up happening then is if you have some that are very, very fundamentalist, even at young ages, you'll be kicked out.
And I feel like I'm like, am I a weird mom? Because like I'll go upstairs to help my kid clean his room, where I'm just like, yo, I know he didn't fucking finish it. I am so aggravated that he didn't finish cleaning his room that all I want to do is pick up the shit on the floor and get out. Like,
no,
I have no desire to go through his drawers. I have no desire. I do keep up on his YouTube watch history because he's on regular YouTube, and shit kind of creeps in. That's like the one thing I go through, but I don't do it behint his back. Like, he'll sit there with me, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go through your watch history. Is there anything you need to tell me about?
Definitely don't want him watching alt-right leaning shit.
Right. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to go through, I'm letting you know this is the once a week where I'm checking your YouTube. Anything you want to tell me about? And usually he'll tell me because I'm not like crazy about shit. And I'll be like, I watch this. And I'm like, okay, show me the channel, and this is the channel you're not allowed to watch. That's like the one thing I do is go through his YouTube watch history. I don't fucking care. I don't care. I just don't. I'm aggravated that I need to go up there because pick up your toys means pick up the toys that I think are toys, because apparently half of them fucking aren't anymore.
So we have a pun offering in the chat to the almighty beard. I don't care if that was the original intention of it. It just simply is.
What happens with the evangelicals diet, the exercise. I love it. I love it. You said beard diet. My beard is kind of trembling now.
I shave mine regularly.
I had a feeling you did, Jen. You just look like that. You just look like somebody who just shaves all the time.
All the time, like I'm Italian. I have.
You wake up in the morning and you just have a full beard already, and you're like, here we go again.
Like I wax, get in the shower, wax, do my hair. Yes, I said wax. Twice.
And then you wax again after you do your hair, because
and then I get home and I'm like, fuck, 5 o'clock shadow everywhere. Wax this shit again.
Yes.
Ow, your poor skin.
I'm shocked. Like, my skin can take some shit. Except if, my skin can take some shit. Like, my pores get clogged easily, but my skin itself, like, sandpaper, waxing, I've never gotten burned. I've never had skin peeled off.
Jen, I love this comment. Who's got time to helicopter?
Right? Oh my God. Like, all right. So today, I get this fucking new desk in, right? And you know how they have the styrofoam blocks? So I'm in my bedroom putting this shit together, and I hear, hiya, what the fuck? He's taking these styrofoam blocks and breaking them over his head. Now, what happens when you break styrofoam? Little styrofoam pieces. It looked like a fucking cocaine factory in my fucking living room today. So I come walking out. He's throwing a fucking fit that he's got to pick up the blocks. I'm like, you want to help me vacuum? He goes, it's my bedtime, and takes off.
Ha! I love it.
I don't think either of our counters are currently in today.
They're not.
We're not on our normal show schedule. Which honestly, I am surprised by the showing that we have, despite the fact that we are not on our normal time.
Yeah, and the thing is what's funny is, like, if they were here, I was gonna make a bet with Jen that if I guess the right number of how many F-bombs she drops, then I have to make a post on her Twitter, and she gets to make a post on my Twitter if I was wrong. Damn.
So we have.
But the F counters are off. Yes, we're gonna have to have me back on when the
and remember that you have to come on instead of fucking getting lost on a goddamn TV show.
Look, Lucifer is just so captivating. It's just so captivating.
Nobody's gonna let you live this down, Russ.
The priest told me that comment was wrong. The priest told me that statement was troubling. All right.
Well, look, the priest has got it all wrong because the priest doesn't know Lucifer like I do.
Was that before or after you swallowed Jen?
Oh, I think that was the time I actually accidentally spit it on him. But
and I'm going to go on record now. I'm going to go on record now and say that as a man who is very, very secure in his masculinity, that if I were gay, Tom Ellis could fucking get it.
I gotta wait.
That dude is one sexy motherfucker.
Tom Ellis. God damn it, I'm stuck in the bra again.
Okay, audience, how the hell are you guys shocked that I made a comment like that? Jen and I talk to each other like this all the fucking time. You'd be afraid of our
what?
Look, what? Shay gets it. Shay gets it. Like, I'm sorry, if I was a gay man, Tom Ellis could fucking get it. Like, that man is sexy, and he has a fucking British accent.
Oh no! I'm looking at him right now.
He's fucking hot.
Yes. And if I'm a gay man, if I was a gay man, he could fucking get it.
And not with the glasses, but God.
And like every time he sits there and goes up to them and tells them, "Tell me, what's your deepest desire is?"
Why the fuck you just being this mean to Jen? Why are you being mean to Jen?
I'm stuck in Tennessee during COVID. Like nothing.
I'm sorry, Jen, but he can get it. He can get it. Like, and the thing is when he's on the show and he says, "So tell me, what's your deepest desire?" I'm like, fucking, if I was gay,
poured over every inch of my body.
Yes, this man is gorgeous.
The funny thing is that
even the cat had something to say. Even the cat was like, "I will tell you what mine is."
So here's the thing, like, that's actually the conceit of the show, that women just like throw themselves all over him, and so do gay men. Oh shit! Like, that's actually the conceit of the show.
Yes, yes, blood, sweat, and steel. The devil did make me do it.
I may have slept with.
And Shay's a little mad.
Why?
Shay is a little mad at you, Ellie, because you did not highlight her comment about how Tom Ellis is a beefcake.
Oh my god, he's hot. Like, I'm gonna go watch this show it's like the non-creepy Henry Cavill is kind of what he sounds like. Keep in mind,
Shay, by the way, this has nothing to do with not highlighting your comment and everything to do with the fact that if you actually watch the StreamYard chat, it lurches at random. Mm-hmm. Like, it doesn't update as you guys do. It lurches with like 4 or 5 at a time, and just things disappear. So if I don't catch your comment, it's not entirely it's not because I'm ignoring you.
Fun fact, though, Utah Outcast says not a huge fan of the Clark Kent hair. The thing is, it's funny because Tom
I don't
Welling,
gotta see the full cut when his head's between my legs. I just gotta look at the top of it.
But Tom Welling, who played Clark Kent in Smallville, is in the show too. Later on in the season, in season 3. Yeah, in season 3, he becomes their new lieutenant, and he plays in there. So it's quite funny. because this is a DC thing, and you have somebody who played Clark in a DC show being on here as well. So it's pretty interesting.
Wait, I can't pronounce that.
Bragwin.
Holy shit, that's a fantastic comment. That's wonderful.
I put it up a second ago.
Here.
The tidal wave of gay...
Man, with poor Lucifer running for
because
his dear life.
Because it's custom tailored. Holy shit, dude.
I love it because, like, he even sits there and always talks about his clothing. Like, there's one episode where his partner had said something about how this other guy kind of reminds her of him. And he goes, I don't think so. And he looks and he's putting on a coat that's just like his. And he goes, no, that's off the rack. Mine is, Italian made.
Mine's like couture. Whore.
Yeah, okay. Pretty much. Yeah, so it's like so funny that like he sat there and told his brother that he could walk a mile in his Italian loafers.
Okay, Russ, we're gonna go way off the deep end talking about Lucifer. Like, as much as I love the show, that's not what
Russ
needs
this show friends that like the show because he has feelings. So please reach out to us.
Well, we can talk about it because I actually used to watch Lucifer when I was working out as an encouragement to myself to work out. Like, I have a TV down there, and I literally will only let myself watch certain shows when I'm on the treadmill or like pumping iron. Because I built a gym in my basement because I got fed up with paying the gym.
I mean, looking at that, I can see why that would be a motivator.
Yeah. Not only is he hot as ever loving fuck, but the show's actually really good.
All I gotta say is like he like hogged all the sexy for the rest of us. Like the rest of us didn't get any of the sexy.
Like, damn, leave some pussy for the rest of us, please.
Exactly.
Any gender.
And if you want your heart broken, he's married too. He got married.
I don't get like that about celebrities. About he's married. I don't get like that with them.
Look. Me and him can keep our relationship secret. I mean, that's fine.
You whore. You fucking slut.
Look, I will invite you too, Jen. It's okay.
No, I don't. If they're attached and monogamous, I won't do that.
I'm not. I'm just joking because, of course, I'm not going to go after him because he's married. That's it. That's exactly right.
Not because you're straight. No, because he's married.
No.
You're not going to go after him because you're straight. No, you're not going to go for him because you're fucking married. Because he's married.
Look,
dude, everybody's fucking gay for Lucifer. Just saying. Like, he's the fucking actor is just like. If there was a picture specifically put next to the definition of the word hot in the dictionary, it would be him. I agree with you. You know what he sounds like? He sounds like the non-creepy platonic form of male hotness.
No, but he sounds like the non-creepy Henry Cavill. That's who he sounds like to me. The totally non-predatory Henry Cavill, which is nice because Henry Cavill's nice to look at, but he's a predator. So I'm like, fuck, that ruined it for me. Now I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, so when it comes to so I am definitely straight, but whenever it comes to certain guys who are hot, it's just like, if they sit there and came up to me one-on-one and said, hey, you want to do something? I might sit there and be like,
so couple drinks in and
you got yourself a deal.
Can I get a hail the platonic body pillow from everybody in the Discord?
Hail the platonic body pillow? What? I'm lost.
Jen, you're in the Discord too. The platonic
I know, but
body
I don't know what's going on most of the time.
It's in the Discord pantheon. The platonic body pillow. Do you want me to go read you the definition of it? Because it's a thing that actually happens.
No, like send it to me because I really don't know what's going on most of the time. So
okay, so the Platonist body pillow is a realistic likeness of Platonist positions created for interaction during discussion. It is unaffected by any interaction or argument presented to it. Interaction only exists to continue to elevate its existence to a higher unity.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I knew about like half of those words.
I don't.
And
know
any Platonist in my chat just cringed like a motherfucker because I understand things well enough to make fun of it.
I just don't.
Anyways, let's get back on topic because I derailed this conversation.
There's a topic. Wait, this is Xenia Bridge. There's a topic.
Oh, my bad.
Like, I don't even know why you come up with topics anymore. I'm like, people are just sitting watching us have a conversation with people that we know. Like,
yeah. So we got reminded by the thank you on fire. Does personal experience justify belief?
Yes.
So I think the resounding answer from here is yes. And I think we talked a little bit about some of the reasons that some people say no. What are some beliefs that you guys think can't be justified necessarily?
Anti-vax.
By personal experience.
Anti-vax.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Especially, okay, so like, I am one of those people that if I had to justify vaccinations by personal belief, I'd be an anti-vaxxer because I am actually allergic to the whooping cough vaccine, and it made me like really, really sick as a kid. So I could say my personal experience with it leads me to believe that they are unsafe. No, we can answer this anti-vax question with science. There is conclusive evidence done over a myriad of years. I am pro-vax. Your personal experience with, yes, it's a medication. People have adverse reactions to Tylenol. You know,
I'm allergic to opiates. They cause me to see things.
Same. I'm allergic to opiates.
I have no other hallucinations anywhere else in my life except for with opiates and certain, like there are 2 different SSRIs that did it. But like at no other point in my entire life have I ever had that problem.
Yeah, opiates for me are fucking bad. And the dye... when you get a CT scan, the purple.
I've never had a reaction to that.
It makes my body feel like it's completely on fire. It literally makes my body feel like it's not like a surface burn. It feels like there is a literal burning fire inside of my body. It's horrible. But yes, and Freya said it, any belief that falls within the scope of science is falsifiable, cannot be justified with personal experience. If I had to rely on my personal experience of vaccines, I'd be an anti-vaxxer. I'm not, because I had to look at it and say, especially when I had my kid, okay, I had a really bad reaction. I can't have it. What are the odds that it's going to happen to him? And we went through his dad, and we went through the rest of my family, and I was the only one that had this reaction to it. So I was like, well, what we wound up doing was you can have them separated out because it's like the it's the Tdap. It's a bunch of them together. You can actually have them done separately. So we had each vaccine in that group done separately to see if it would cause a reaction for him. But I wasn't going to be like, let's not give it to him. Because it's not justifiable. It's able to be proven that, yes, for a small percent of the population, you may have a reaction. You may die. However, for the greater good, after 50 years, we had a lot more fucking people with it.
And to be honest, like it's folks like you that the rest of us have to get vaccines for because you rely on herd immunity.
Yeah, like when I was pregnant with him, there was actually a whooping cough outbreak here, and I was already high risk pregnancy. When I used to go in, I was able to leave my house for prenatal appointments, and that was it. So I used to go to prenatal appointments. I had a mask on. I had to keep gloves on, and I looked like fucking patient zero because these dickbags can't get their fucking kids vaccinated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a big one too, was chickenpox, the varicella vaccine. My ex-husband was against it. And I'm just like, my uncle had shingles, and I had a miserable time with chickenpox. It had to be explained to him that you don't get shingles unless you have chickenpox, because it's like reactivated and shit. His personal belief was that chickenpox weren't bad. And they're really not. But shingles fucking sucks, and he wasn't aware of it. He did not have a personal experience with it.
And I agree with On Fire's example of seatbelts. Like, for instance, my ex told me this story about how her and her friend were in a really, really bad car accident. And she was driving, she was wearing her seatbelt. Her friend was next to her, and she wasn't wearing her seatbelt. Well, in this accident, come to find out that what the doctors and stuff had said was that if my ex had not been wearing her seatbelt, she'd have been dead. Whereas her friend, who didn't wear her seatbelt, if she had been wearing her seatbelt, she'd be dead. Because what happened was the seatbelt thing on the side of the car, it had gotten forced upwards. And if she'd been wearing her seatbelt, it would have literally choked her to death. Because it was stuck.
Well,
and so she would have died.
You hear this with car seats and kids. It's now, they recommend rear facing your children up until 4 if you can, at least until age 4. And this was another thing me and my ex-husband, argued about. And even just using car seats in general. And his parents would be like, oh, we didn't have car seats like that and we were fine. And I'm like, it doesn't make it any less safe. And this is the way that I come at people when it comes to personal experience is this. If you knew someone who jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge and lived, would that make it safe or would that make it right to think that everyone who jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge would live?
Yeah. I mean, hell, there's some people who've skydived and freaking, even though their parachute didn't hit the ground and still live.
Yeah, or if a plane crash happens.
Yeah, that doesn't mean we still don't take the precautions.
Right.
If you want a shining example of personal experience and misled belief when it comes to science, Jillian Epperly.
Oh my God, are you talking about Jillian juice?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to address purple rhymes with orange real quick. Rear-facing car seats, and I love getting this message out, especially to new parents because they're usually not aware of it. Yes, it does provide good neck support against sudden stops. However, what rear-facing stops is internal decapitation. If your child is, because their head is so heavy, it's not properly supported by the rest of their body, which is why they're always like, make sure the baby's head, and the bones in their spine haven't fused yet to provide that kind of support. They haven't grown in, and their bones haven't fused. If you get into an accident and that child whiplashes forward, it can actually sever the spine internally. But when they're rear facing, it like engulfs it, like it absorbs it, and they're not violently jerking forward with the forward motion of the car. They're actually moving more back, which is why the car seat is absorbing the force. This is why it is so important to keep your kids rear facing close to the age of 5. Ooh, as close to the age of 5 as possible. I want to say he got too tall at 4 for rear facing.
I'm gonna assume we're all familiar with Jillian and her Jilly juice.
I mean, it's hard not to be. I mean, fuck, even Illuminati, who's one of the like big anti-woo things, just did a thing on her.
Oh no, I've came across some people who are like, who's that? What's Jilly juice? And I was like,
they must not have been.
Oh my God, you don't know?
Very long.
No.
Yeah, no.
No.
Yeah. It's funny because I've had several conversations with Jeff Holiday, who actually went on Dr. Phil with Jillian to combat her Jilly juice.
Juice.
It was fucking hilarious.
Hairclays, Google it and then come yell at me in the server when you end up wanting to bleach your eyes out.
Terrible. That just sounds terrible.
Hercules, I can sum it up best for you right now. It's fucking fermented cabbage.
Waterfalls.
It's kimchi. It's kimchi selling to people. Kimchi juice.
It's not even kimchi because you wouldn't put that much fucking salt in kimchi. I've made kimchi. As vegan, I have made kimchi. No, like it is drinking so much salty fermented cabbage water that you cause yourself to have violent, explosive. It comes out your rear end and cleans you out, for lack of a better way to put it, and it does.
It's waterfall.
It's waterfall.
It's waterfall.
It's not diarrhea.
That bits of your stomach lining and your intestinal lining come out with it. And a lot of those people have been convinced by Jillian that those bits of stomach lining and intestines are actually parasites.
Yes.
And
it's funny because
before you guys start laughing about this, there have been at least 2 cancer patients on record that have died. And one person who had COVID who died because they believed in this shit.
It's funny because on the show, no matter how many times Dr. Phil, Jeff, and even an actual fucking expert, in the relevant field, who sat there and said this is diarrhea, Jillian kept shaking her head violently saying, it's not diarrhea. It's not diarrhea. And it's like, it's fucking diarrhea.
It's fucking diarrhea. What do you think it is, Jilly?
So we broke the audience. Press F to pay respect for yourselves, chat.
Press F to pay respects for your asshole puckering during that conversation. Just falling in on itself and just puckering up for that conversation.
Well, no, that would be prolapse. Anyway.
No. Prolapse is out. I'm talking about when somebody mentions Taco Bell and your ass just shuts and you're like, no, that pucker, that F in the chat for that.
We're getting F's for them to pay respect themselves. Poor chat. We love the chat.
There's even one person who said F for all who died to Jilly juice.
I mean, honestly, they deserve a moment of respect because these were people who were severely ill, stage 4 terminal people who thought that they would give this a chance, and they had what little time they had left cut short, and that is terrible. So, like, for those of you that are listening, this is me giving a moment of silence. This stops being funny when people get hurt, and she is targeting the people. Like, this is where we fight. This is something that atheists and pagans, we can fight together. Like, this is the kind of shit that, and like Silver Ravenwolf's fucking anti-abuse spell and shit like that. You know, when you got people that are taking herbal supplements instead of actually going to the doctor, or using freaking essential oils instead of getting chemo,
instead of chemotherapy. I was just gonna say.
Like, this is the kind of shit that pagans will fight with you on. Like, we will fight alongside you. My current video that's going to be coming out on Thursday, which my patrons just got access to. I'm sorry it was late. I also did a Patreon bonus video this week, and, like, stuff went crazy with the show, and I've been having back problems, so I'm sorry that it got a bit late. Patrons, you guys have access to this week's video. I'm going to leave it up a little later until tomorrow morning.
For tomorrow tonight. You're like so on shit, and you're like, I'm so sorry, and I'm like, fuck, I haven't even.
I normally try to get it out by Tuesday nights. For those of you who are patrons, you're used to getting it on Tuesday nights. I'm sorry that I put it out a bit late. The Hades video took a lot out of me.
My patrons are extremely patient with me, like extremely. They really.
Jen, you sit there and said that, but hell, I said that I wanted to make my my allyship video for
like 6 months ago.
Bar crawl. Well, no. I said I was like, I kind of want to get it out for the pagan bar crawl. That was last week, and I still haven't finished that. So, I mean,
I completely agree with you, Heracles. Actually, spanking is physical child abuse. I don't care if it's just on their butt. It doesn't matter where you're hitting a fucking kid. Their brain doesn't know the difference, and they have shown in numerous studies. If y'all want citations, I'll give them to you. They've shown in numerous studies that there is no psychological difference between spanking and beating. None at all.
Yeah, and
kids who
the
get
thing
spanked
is
still develop a mild form of PTSD. Many of them do, and it can lead to the same kind of aggressive tendencies as children that are abused in other ways.
Well, even if you don't look at the psychological defects that happen.
Oh my God, it's purple. This is glorious.
Would be good idea for a channel.
Do we get like costumes? I want a costume.
The Woo Fighters.
The Woo Fighters.
I want.
Yes, I love it.
I really want.
But anyways, if you don't even look at the psychological defects that happen due to spanking, the thing is they've also found research that what ends up happening is these kids who do these behaviors that cause them to be spanked, they don't stop doing them. They just find more creative ways of continuously doing them. Yes.
By the way, so I absolutely fucking love your avatar. Like, that is such a gorgeous.
That is hot as fuck, right?
Yeah. It was but so like, for instance, if you have a child that is constantly cursing and you decide, I'm going to spank my child, this will help them stop cursing. They're not going to do it around you.
Stop cursing in front of you.
Yeah. They're going to do it with their friends. They're going to do it at school. They're going to do it everywhere else. So it doesn't, like, the things that you're trying to curb anyways are not being curbed. Like if you actually sit down and speak to your children and tell them why things are bad, they find that that's more effective, and children don't do the same things again afterwards. So
and that's
even if we don't, and so even if we don't look at the psychological harm that you're causing your child, if you're one of those types of people who are like, I don't think that shit's real. Well, the thing is whenever the things you're trying to stop are not stopping. So you're ineffectively just saying, hey, don't do this shit around me, and you're good.
She can claim to be immortal until she dies.
L. Ron Hubbard.
Yep, basically.
Which is always funny because I always, like, whenever people ask, can somebody die for a lie? It's like, how many people do you think there are that are dying dying thinking that Scientology is real and is the truth and is the best thing?
Millions of dollars in debt over it.
Yeah, and they believe that what they're doing is actually helping.
There are actual Scientologists that work on the L. Ron Hubbard ranch and upkeep the house because they're just waiting for him to come back. And there are people that have worked at this house from the time they were teens to the day they died.
Hell, I find it funny that the Sea Org ship, they sit there, and of course these are all members who are high up enough to know the full story of Xenu and all this stuff. And they believe that that they're cured from diseases just to have an outbreak of what was it?
It's not that they're cured of diseases. When you finally get to right, he just ascended. When you finally get to
he decided he had other important work that he could not do in his corporeal form.
Yeah, in his human form. So when you get to the last OT, it's basically telling you that you had the power to do this and only you know yourself. That's basically what the final OT tells you, is that you've always been okay. You just had to find it yourself. That's exactly what it's not that you're cured of diseases. It's not that you can avoid shit like COVID. No, like you look at them and they go, it's always been inside of you. You just needed to seek the journey yourself.
Believe in the me that believes in you.
Yeah, you've always been okay. That's the final OT.
So if they hit the final OT and they still got sick off
I think it's like
ship,
OT 8. No, they don't believe that you can. They believe that
illness is yourself. They think that illness is your own
When
fault.
it comes to viruses and stuff, they're actually pretty this is a virus. It's psychology that they feel.
Jen, I had a friend who was part of the Sea Org. They banned conventional medicine for anybody that was part of the Sea Org. They were not allowed to go to conventional.
You sure it just wasn't that branch?
No, this is Sea Org policy, and there are ex-Sea Org
Okay.
members that talk about this on YouTube and other places. It's pretty
Because
consistent.
that wasn't the original policy.
Well, it has been at least for the last 30 years, and I have a good friend who is ex-Sea Org who has talked about this. And she was part of the Sea Org, like back in, I want to say the mid 80s. And she still gets stuff. Like when she stayed here, she stayed with me for a little while. She still got like mail from the Church of Scientology trying to get her to go back.
I know that they don't do that about psychology. I know they don't.
They were banned from being able to go to a regular doctor with any kind of injury or illness, and they were told that if they got sick, it was their fault because their thetans were out of balance and that they were not doing the things that they were supposed to do.
Cute. Witchy by nature, starseeds and indigo children. Indigo kids were big when I was growing up. It was my generation that's supposed to be the indigo children, and then I think it's like the crystal children are their children, and then there's like a fucking there's another one.
You can get kicked out of the Sea Org if you get pregnant on fire, from what I heard from her.
It always depends. Like it's either pretty much go get an abortion or you're kicked out. And because you're in the Sea Org and you're thinking that you're actually making a difference, 9 times out of 10 you're going to go and get the abortion.
So let me tell y'all.
Not saying it always happens.
Indigo kids were undiagnosed ADHD kids. That's exactly what the fuck they were. They were undiagnosed ADHD, BPD, and bipolar people.
And autism.
I have no idea what
like the vast majority of the so-called indigo children that I had met, they were undiagnosed autism.
Hey, shush!
No, see, okay, the quote unquote indigo kids were the ones that didn't follow rules. They spoke out all the time. They were hard to control. They bucked against society. And the crystal children, who were the ones after the indigo kids, are the kids that seemed more disconnected. They seemed on a higher plane. They were quieter.
So that sounds like inattentive ADHD.
It was the crystal kids that were mainly being undiagnosed with autism. The indigo kids were the ADHD kids. It's all in
keep in mind ADHD has 2 different types. Like we've talked about this. I'm like combined type, but I am primarily inattentive. So I'm the daydreamy type. So I would have been classified
that
as a
wasn't
crystal
indigo
kid.
kids.
Real quick, I have to address Ryla. It wasn't because he wanted to play with the pig. It's because I stood up.
Oh,
that's why he barked.
Indigo kids were the bad kid rebels. They were the rebels, and
they were supposed to be like these brilliantly inspired, like psychic children that were going to usher in a new age.
Yes, yeah, they were supposed to be bucking against the system and not listening and not adhering to their parents and not behaving in school because they were more enlightened and the fight that we needed to come. They're the ones that had the gall and the zeal and the understanding on how to fight this fight. And it was the indigo kids that were going to usher in this new form of enlightenment. And that's why they're bucking against the system now. Now, the crystal kids The Crystal Kids were the ones that came after the Indigo Kids. The Crystal Kids were the Indigo Kids kids. And according to them, after the Indigo children fight this fight and buck the system and change everything, it was the Crystal Kids who had the enlightenment and the calmness and the detachment to lead everyone through the transition of the new awakening and the new spiritual awakening and the new reality. It was the Indigo Kids that ushered in.
So on a scale of 1 to woo, what I'm hearing is Dr. Phil.
Oh no, this is like 10 woo.
Is this more
this
like
shit
Dr.
is like
Oz?
10. This Indigo Kids falls in line with Indigo Crystal Kids kind of falls in line with not soulmates.
So
fuck.
Before you continue with that, I have a question because
damn it, I need Ocean because Ocean knows the answer to this. Twin flames. It's like this. It's like along the lines of the twin flame shit.
Oh god.
I have no idea what.
Okay, so twin flames, trippy shit. According to the woo people, twin flames are people who are meant to be together in their lives and are in your life and are meant to provide this massive change in your life. But it's the most drama-filled bullshit ever. It's like, they're going to run away from you, and then you have to give them time, and then there's a runner-chaser period. And it's a fucking excuse for a fucking seriously toxic relationship. But they're your twin flame. And they will always be
Nate
tied
Munson,
to you.
it does sound like Ric Flair woo.
So that sounds like that's honestly sounds like the most like codependent bullshit I've ever fucking heard.
It's excusing a codependent toxic relationship. And it's like somebody's the runner and somebody's the chaser. And if they run, you have to let them run. But if they come back,
Have you not been paying attention? Have you not been paying attention to news? Trump is the chosen one, all right? QAnon has revealed that he's breaking up the pedophile cults.
Oh my God, let's think about this.
New age.
What if they fucked up because the Indigo Kids are the ones that were old enough to vote Trump in?
Yeah, but I thought it was their parents. It was the boomers.
No, Indigo Kids are me. And they were Indigo Kids were my generation.
Well, I mean, you and I are same generation, technically.
Technically, but there's a split in the millennials, excuse me. Older millennials were the Indigo Kids. And it was older millennials that voted Trump in. Maybe we just fucked up. Maybe we were just thinking it was something good, and in fact, it was really something really shitty. Maybe that was it.
He says Trump is the new Aquarian Lord.
Maybe that's it. Maybe we thought it was like a new utopia, and it's like, no, the next phase is going to be even shittier than the last one is. Like, that's the new enlightenment. Like,
so maybe it's a utopia for the cockroaches, and we're all just being too anthropocentric.
Possibly.
So I still don't understand who the Indigo children are. Like, was this like a religious thing? Was this like
it was this spiritual
It was a new age thing.
It was a new age thing.
It was an alternative explanation for people who were like, but if I give my kid Adderall, they're like totally just gonna be a drone, and I don't want them to be a drone.
But my kid's an Indigo kid, so if I medicate them, I'm suppressing that, and it was a lot of parents that just wouldn't parent their fucking kids. Like, I understand that kids need to express themselves.
So this is officially the best comment of the night.
Yeah, like, I understand that kids need to express themselves. I understand that some children may have mental illnesses. But y'all know them parents that just don't parent their fucking kids, and like the kids
they want to be their kid's best friend.
Yeah, and the kid's running around in like a saggy fucking diaper, fucking no clothes on, barefoot, covered in mud for the last 3 days. And they're just a free spirit, and I want them to express themselves. Parents of Indigo kids were those parents. They just didn't want to parent their kids. And it's like, oh, but they're an Indigo child, and if I stifle this, then I'm stifling who they really are. And I'm like,
so they're stupid.
Bitch, talk to your fucking kids. Set a goddamn boundary. Ain't nothing wrong with taking away a fucking Nintendo for a day because he's acting like a little asshole. I love my kid. My kid can be a fucking dick. He is every bit his mother, and he can be an absolute asshole. And I have to teach him the boundary of when it's okay to be an asshole and when you shouldn't be.
Sometimes one of my nephews.
The problem, Witchy, like having been diagnosed ADHD as an adult, I wish my parents had tried to get me medication, but here's the issue. A lot of parents don't know enough and don't work well enough, or they don't have a good enough psychiatrist who ends up diagnosing you, to work with the psychiatrist to try to get the right medication at the right dose and then teach healthy habits to cope with the rest. Because the medication isn't supposed to get rid of your symptoms. It never will.
Right.
As somebody currently on medication who has an incredible fucking work schedule and 2 careers that I'm managing and everything else, I can only do that because of my meds. But the thing is it's like there's a concert in my head all the goddamn time. The meds take the volume down from like indoor concert without earplugs to, hey, I put the earplugs in and now I can kind of pay attention. It's not going to make it all better. And for kids especially, it can be really, really fucking hard to teach ADHD kids like proper coping techniques. But a lot of kids end up way over medicated because parents think the meds are supposed to eliminate the symptoms. And if you have that attitude, the psychiatrist might keep increasing their, the dose because you're telling them, oh, these symptoms, da-da-da.
But they're not doing cognitive behavioral therapy to help deal with the symptoms either.
Yeah, and that takes a lot of fucking time. And most parents don't, most parents, it's as much ignorance as it is laziness. Yeah. But that is a thing. And, when you've got especially 2 working parents that work hours and hours and hours and they don't feel like they have the time, you can't fully blame them 100% for not knowing these things and not having the time to research them. But it is a sad state of affairs that a lot of us got burned early on with medications and stuff because of that. But that's not, like, medications don't automatically make you a zombie. They just change the way you think.
Right. Rilla had said that, Rilla and, I'm going to fuck this up, McNoki. So I was not a good teen, like, at all. Yeah, and I remember my mom was talking to one of her friends, and she's like, oh, there's nothing wrong with her. She's just an indigo kid. And my mother was like, bitch, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, what? My child is Barney? What? My child is fucking purple? What the fuck is wrong with you? She was like, no, I'm taking her to a fucking therapist.
I mean, the person with the best username in the chat has a point.
Yeah, exactly.
So since we are starting to get way the fuck off into the weeds again, and we've got maybe 10 minutes before we usually start wrapping up the show, do you want to kind of take to final questions and everything, since we've been talking about allyship and all the everything?
Wait, who are you talking to?
Everybody, apparently, and nobody, and myself and the wall, and
I think everyone was like, well, who are we addressing?
Like we didn't, we went way off topic a lot. Like the topic was allyship, and because we are who we are, we just kind of went off on everything.
I mean, to be fair, some of our conversation was an example of allyship because we were talking about bullshit and why it's bullshit. So, not only did we talk about allyship, we actually decided to do the allyship. So,
we got
us.
there. Yeah, we got there. Yay us. We kind of stayed.
Totally not post hoc justifying our complete and utter ramble.
I fucking am. Fuck that. I'm absolutely doing it. Yes.
Let's take credit for
post hocs. Absolutely no intention. Post hocs can be okay sometimes.
Yeah, what's the question? What? What?
Yeah, that's a major problem, Ezralus. I have a lot of people in my life. My father and mother-in-law, when I told them that I had gotten diagnosed and how much better my life was, they were like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you fell for that."
If you guys notice, I'm always doing this. I always have a pen in my hand.
Yeah, Jen and I are like the ADHD queens, and Russ just needs to get diagnosed one of these days.
Like, I'm always doing this. I'm sitting here like...
It's funny because, who was it? Dana had actually said that I wasn't, what's the word y'all use? Neurotypical.
Or neurotypical, yeah.
Yeah, I sat there and said that Allie believes that I might have ADD, and he was like, I can tell you, you're not neurotypical.
No, you're not neurotypical. No.
You speak our language too well to be neurotypical.
Being neurotypical and being non-neurotypical and raising a non-neurotypical child. Yeah.
So, we have the last 2 questions of the night, and I'm really curious to hear your insights on these. So I'll start first, since you're an atheist. What can pagans do to be better allies to atheists?
What can pagans do to be better allies with atheists? Well, as far as I can see, because I can only judge it from the interactions I've seen with pagans on Twitter with certain atheists is like, y'all do a lot of good whenever it comes to trying to
did
not
we get Harley Jesus fan art?
Did we?
Do what?
Harley Jesus has appeared in fan art. Jack and Quill has given us Harley Jesus.
Thank you, Jack and Quill. Jack and Quill's amazing.
All right,
Russ
awesome.
was answering the question.
Yeah, so the way I've seen y'all interact on Twitter a lot is like, y'all don't just sit there like whenever people are going off. Like some of y'all do go after them, but a lot of times, like especially whenever I've seen Ocean interact with people, is like he sits there and even though something they could say could be very, very like damaging, like someone who sits there and says, "Oh, whatever," an atheist says, "Oh, whatever." A lot of y'all don't actually just jump on them. Y'all sit there and say, try to understand them, and you sit there and have a respectful conversation with them. Well,
not all pagans are like that, though.
Yeah, not all pagans are like that. Which leads me to what I said whenever it came to allyship with for atheists, is that we just need to be respectful in our conversations with people. If we're constantly on the attack, then there's no productivity going on. So if there are pagans out there, or polytheists in general, or theists in general out there that automatically go after the attack, I would say just try to be respectful as much as possible. Like if you're respectful and they continuously attack you, by all means, return like for like. I do that all the time. I start off respectful, and
you
then
and I have fun doing that together.
Oh yeah,
we have fun.
Yeah, yes we do. Yes we do. But I sit there and I start off respectful, and then if you constantly are attacking me, I will fucking attack you back. And it's just how I am. I return like for like. And you can sit there and call me whatever you like for that, but I do believe in returning like with like. If you attack me, when I'm being respectful, I will attack you. But if we can just start off conversations respectful, then that leads to more productivity than just always being on the defensive and constantly attacking whenever attacks are not necessary.
Yeah, that sounds like that's really good advice.
Okay, Russ, what can atheists do to be better allies to pagans and, well, everybody else?
Okay, so I'm going to speak to my fellow atheist here. Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick. Like, I mean, I'm an asshole. Don't get me wrong. I'm an asshole, and I enjoy. Yeah, I'm not a dick. Yeah. And the thing is when it comes to respect, the respect works both ways. We can't expect pagans to come at us with respect if we're not willing to do the same. And not only that, but you have to realize that when it comes to talking with pagans or polytheists or theists in general about their experiences and whatnot, we have, you have to sit there and understand that these experiences are going to be enough to justify their beliefs while not necessarily justifying you to believe in them. So you can keep your skepticism card, you can keep your whatever card you want to call it, your rationalism card, whatever the fuck you want to call it, you can still keep that while also respecting and actually listening to theists. And listen to
Russ,
their experiences.
You got your atheist card revoked because you kept missing the hate pagan memos.
Oh,
so
yeah.
did Jen, remember?
Yes.
Yeah. I usually nap during those.
So. Okay, what I meant to say, guys, is death to pagans, death to polytheists, death to theists in general.
Okay, rimming the atheist establishment is not going to get you your card back. They've already made
rimming the atheist establishment.
Look, don't keep shaming me.
Okay.
Don't keep shaming me.
All right. Okay. That happened. Cool. Okay.
Okay, Jen, tell me that's not something that you would say.
Yeah, that's why I'm really fucking proud of you right now. Like, I'm super proud.
And all I gotta say is,
you're just older and angrier.
And I'm gonna tell you now, Allie, don't kink shame me.
Okay, I didn't say that you were. Look, you can enjoy doing it, but that doesn't mean you're going to get what you want out of it. Like, I'm not kink shaming you if I'm telling you that you're not going to get what you want out of it. Were there 2 server beams? Heresy.
Heresy.
Damn it.
Phrases I might need more than
I broke the chat again.
I'm just picturing someone rimming fucking Christopher Hitchens right now, and I'm not happy.
No, why? Apparently, he might be a predator, according to a mutual friend of ours too. I'm having to dig into those allegations.
Ooh, we'll talk later. We'll talk later.
Oh, I want to be in on this conversation.
Now comes to the shill portion, and because Russ isn't going to do it himself, Russ, you are reviving your channel and working on a "This Is How You Ally" video. Like you told me all about the script the other night.
Yes, I'm working on it, and it's pretty much a lot of what I've already said, which is, hey, atheists, don't be a dick, and why we should actually ally with theists who are not harmful, such as, Allie here, and shout out to, was it Science Side Up?
Yeah, Maddie. Science Side Up.
Yes, Maddie. And
Maddie
a lot of
like
other
Jen's
theists.
New best friend.
I love Maddie.
Yeah. A lot of other theists who are very unharmful with their beliefs. We don't have to constantly go after people. Like, sure, they have a difference in opinion about whether or not God or gods exist. Okay, does that really harm you in any way, shape, or form? Like, they go on about with their beliefs and they accept science and they sit there and go after harmful people. So what really is the difference between us and them besides the God question? Like, it just seems stupid to me.
I love it.
So that's exciting. Jen, what do you have coming up?
Tomorrow night, I'm going to be releasing a commentary on the Cuties Netflix scandal and the problems with sexualizing children, especially girls, and what it leads to when we do this, especially when we do it for marketing. Friday, I am hosting a Q&A on my channel because I hit 1,000 subs last week. Thank you. And I promised that when I hit 1,000 subs, I would not have a guest on. It would just be a live stream with just me, and people can ask me questions, or we can just have the chat lead the conversation and just sit and bullshit. So that's Friday for me.
Well, and I have a special double feature going on this week on my channel. So on Thursday, I've got the response to the video alleging that masks are a pagan secret cabal initiation ritual to radically change society somehow.
Excuse me.
But
Which
on
we know
Saturday,
it is.
I love
last Saturday, I released the special first Patreon bonus video. Teo Philos, who is my only $20 patron currently, was the one who won the drawing. There were only 3 names in it, so I rolled the dice twice and was like, okay, well, if it's, here's the ranges for all the different people. It ended up being Teo Philos. So he decided to pick the topic, Hydes. Who is he? Like, how did the Greeks view him as a deity? So I actually think I sent you that video, Jen, because you and I talked about it. But he is actually a very hard deity to do research on because he wasn't talked about very much. And his cultus was relegated mostly to festivals and primarily at places like Elis and Eleusis, where we have very brief commentaries, but those mysteries were kept secret for a very long time. We only have 2 surviving statues of him. And there are, epithets of his, but there's a debate among scholars about whether or not those epithets are, were originally different gods and then got conflated later as Greece kind of unified a little bit after the Peloponnesian War. There's a whole big thing about that. So I go into detail about that. It's about a 15-minute video. It's a gigantic thank you to my patrons. I even changed the intro for it. Patrons get that for a whole week before I release it to
you're so much nicer
the
to
channel.
your patrons.
So they've had a chance to watch it for about a week now, and I'm going to be releasing it for a premiere on Saturday at 9 p.m. EST, 6 p.m. PST. So for those of you, you guys are getting an Aleakai double feature if you guys are interested this week. And next week, on Monday, Jen and I are doing a special solo show about the difficulties of homeschooling during COVID.
Yeah,
because
so
Jen's going to be.
Can I show you guys? Can I show you guys what I did today? Can I show
Sure,
you
go
guys what I
ahead.
did today?
Yes. Let us see.
Here, let me pop you up as the primary person, and so everybody can see. Give me a second. Oh no, it's making it just show me.
Oh no, I don't want to look like that. Oh crap. Okay. But y'all see what the hell's going on?
I'm trying to. I would have to drop myself, I think, and Russ out.
But y'all see this back here, right? Y'all see this going on? The big old chair and the giant. There's a professional mic attached to this.
We got it.
Okay, that's my son's virtual schooling area. That's what I spent 7 hours doing today, was building this new desk.
Yay!
And
have a good night, Jack and Quill. Thank you for
good
the
night, Jack and Quill. So Monday he starts school, virtual, and
so
you're
going to be fresh out of the very first hell talking about your experiences.
Yes, and just how life is shifting. I mean, clearly life is. I have this big kind of oversized one-seater with an ottoman in there that I've now moved upstairs to his room to put that there. Even the cats are paying for it because that's where the cats would sleep and that's where they would kind of look out the window. None of them slept with me last night because they were fucking pissed about this goddamn chair. Like they protested. This shit is changing everyone's life in my house.
How
so we're gonna
dare
talk about
you?
I know. Even the cats are affected. So we're going to talk about how it went and the gaps and no, my chair is a gamer chair. He has an executive office chair. It's a big plush padded because the prince is the prince. So the prince, yeah. It's a big executive office chair. He's got a 32-inch monitor. He's going to have his computer and the school computer, ATR mic and a separate webcam. Like, when mom does YouTube. Virtual schooling looks a little different. So, but we're going to be talking about the ins and outs and how it changes things and its shortfalls and its benefits.
Well, and also, like, given the recent work that Cirrus has done, kind of talking about some of the places that made it an option rather than giving it, giving it as mandatory, we're going to be talking about some of that. And
yeah, we had the choice. We had the option. We were able to choose here. So, and we'll be talking about that and how many people did choose and how many didn't and what some of the parents have had to say about it.
So, thank you guys again so much for hanging out with us. There's 43 of you still here, which is amazing. Thank you guys for sticking through the show. If you are a new viewer and you haven't had a chance, please hit the like button down there and subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you can. I'm trying really hard to grow my channel. I am 3/4 of the way to being able to monetize, and I've already hit the watch time hours, so I'm really excited about that. And doing that, yep, I'm at almost 4,000 watch time hours, and I hit 835 subs as of earlier today.
Congrats, honey.
Thank you. And monetization for me is less about the money because I know I'm going to get like $5 and more about like the advantages in the algorithm because I want more people to be able to find some of the stuff that I'm doing because I'm really trying hard to promote atheist and polytheist allyship, and I'm also trying really hard to promote better understanding of what it means to be a Reconstructionist pagan because it is so hard to find non-focused resources. And if you don't know what a focused is, go check the Pissed Off Polytheist series. I've got a video on how
I'm in that.
How they're all jackasses. And
yes,
this motherfucker down there is in that video. He decided to voice a page out of a Folkist manifesto for me so that I wouldn't have to watch the taste of racist out of my mouth. So
that takes more wine than you should safely consume in a night.
Yes, I'm definitely one of those people that if you ever need someone to ask asshole questions for a video or read hateful shit, I'm definitely your guy to go to because, I'm an asshole and I'll do that. He
really is. I mean, he's the good kind of asshole, but he's an asshole.
Yeah. Like, you should see... Like, it's funny because Callan had sat there and tagged me in this thread with a bunch of racists, and they're spouting off this racist
Callan sat
shit.
here and tagged you in this thread. The next sentence is either going to be racist, transphobes, or anti-theists.
Mm-hmm. Yep, one of the three.
Or some combination of the three.
Or some kind of mix of the three.
Well, my response to one of them was, you seem like somebody who's fun at parties. And he responded with some more racist shit, and I said... he asked me if I was pro-white genocide or stuff, and I was like, no, I just come to laugh at people who spout off with racist things, hence why I'm here.
Alrighty, so we need to get going, Russ. Thank you again so much for
Thank you guys for coming out.
And thank you guys for sticking through the show. Again, it's on a Wednesday. I'm shocked that so many people made it, so I'm really grateful for you guys for hanging out. And remember, we're stronger together.